How y'all doing? This is Cascadia Coast News. I wanted you to check out something else here. Uh, Now we're going to go to Washington State. Now here in Washington, they have proposed a series of gun bills here in Washington, and it's based off of this 2020 Alliance for Gun Responsibility Policy agenda. Now, I didn't see that before. Alliance is our responsibility, huh? Alliance, kind of like a alliance for a one world order, huh? Anyways, we're going to read this. Okay. And it goes as follows. And this is the regulations they want imposed in Washington State. And honestly, this is what they want for the entire United States. Regulate access to ammunition in high-capacity magazines. Washington's background check system helps ensure firearms do not make it into dangerous hands. However, we do not currently address access to ammunition and the high-capacity magazines that make semi-automatic weapons extraordinarily deadly. We should take steps to require checks on all ammunition and magazine purchases and prohibit magazines that can carry more than 10 rounds. It's always 10 frickin' rounds. Listen, they're trying to make it as hard as possible for people to get ammunition. Is exactly what they're trying to do. This is not about the criminals. This is not about protecting people. This is about restricting access to law-abiding citizens to firearms and ammunition. This is what this whole agenda is about. Moving on. Address the intersection of alcohol and firearm violence. Emerging research shows a clear link between even a single driving under the influence DUI conviction and future violent acts. In other words, they're saying that people who have DUIs are inherently violent. That's pretty much what they're saying. Today, our law prohibits firearms possession after a felony DUI. We can help keep guns out of crisis situations by adjusting our laws to temporarily restrict access to firearms after a second DUI conviction. So stop drinking and driving. Well, drinking and driving is not good anyways. But this is what a police state looks like. They're going to micromanage every single thing that you do. It's going to start with the guns. It always starts with the guns. They got to get the guns away from the people to impose their tyrannical rule of law. This is bullcrap. While incentivizing treatment pathways and encouraging continued sobriety where appropriate by allowing for earlier restoration of firearm rights. Keep kids safe. It's always about the children. They always say it's about the children. It's not about the children. If they cared about the children, then why is abortion being run rampant and full-term abortions going on and all that bullcrap? People wonder why our country's going down the shitter. Hey, you know what it is? It's because people have evicted God out of their lives and they care not for Him. That's exactly what it is. Firearms are prohibited in K through 12 schools across our state, but other places where our children gather to learn and play do not have similar protections. We can help keep our kids safe by extending the protections for K to 12 schools to early learning centers, parks, and libraries across Washington. Yeah, they don't want people carrying a firearm anyways. They're trying to get rid of open carry here in Washington State. Restore local authority. If local leaders determine there are events or places where firearms present a high risk, they should be able to act. Our state should allow local governments to put stronger laws into place when it is right for the community. This sounds like what is going on in Virginia. Go check that out. These are the same exact things that are going on in Virginia. Centralize our background check system. No, we don't want you to centralize our background check system, you frickin' morons. We got NCIS already. No, it's not NCIS. Yeah, it's NCIS. We already got that. We don't need more of a background check system when we already got one in place, you dumbasses? In 2019, the legislature passed House Bill 1949, directing the Office of Financial Management to study ways to centralize our state's background check system. The legislature should implement and fully fund the suggestions brought forward as a result of that study. Yeah, my ass. Keep confiscated crime guns off the street. Now, they already came, I can't remember exactly what the name of the bill was, but the State Patrol here in Washington State are now allowed to destroy all firearms that they confiscate or that were used in a crime. They will no longer sell them after they've been released from evidence. Allowing the State Patrol to destroy confiscated crime guns rather than require them to auction or trade them will help keep dangerous crime guns out of our communities. Now, how in the hell would firearms coming from an auction at the State Patrol get into criminals' hands? See, it doesn't make freaking sense. Requires safety training. Now, you already got that with I-1639. Gosh dang, you guys are... Oh, boy. 27 states in the District of Columbia require safety training before issuing a concealed pistol license. Washington is not one of these states. Updating our laws to include training requirements will help ensure people carrying concealed weapons to know how to safely handle them. Hey, they already do. You know, chances are that if somebody's carrying a firearm, they've already trained extensively with that firearm. Yeah, no, this is just a leftist agenda to get the guns out of the people. They don't want them in the hands of people. That's exactly what it is. And you know, you can go to Canada. Go look up what's going on in Canada right now. What was that? Something Lighthouse. What was that dude's name? Anyways, he doesn't think that civilians should have any AR-15 type weapon or at all. Period. He just doesn't think it's good for. You know what? I'm gonna pull that video up and I'm gonna do another video on that. Anyways, moving on. Community and victim protection. Washington continues to make tremendous strides to help ensure firearms are removed from dangerous people and crisis situations. As we implement these laws, there are additional ways to strengthen these provisions, including by allowing access to important databases, in other words, a registry, aligning penalties for violations, clarifying procedures to restore firearm rights, ensuring concealed pistol licenses are removed at the same time as firearms, and using best practices for surrender processes statewide. It's going to be a registry. They're trying to create a centralized registry so they know exactly where the firearms are so they can come take them. And then, you know, all bets are off after that for the Washingtonians and Americans in general, because if they create a registry, they're going to be coming for the guns. And then after they get the guns, you bet your ass they're going to be dragging you and your family off the street and shooting your ass in the head. That's a fact. Same thing they did in Germany. Require reporting of lost and stolen firearms. You know, if your gun is lost in the first place, or if it got stolen, yeah, you should probably report it. And honestly, you should know where your firearms are at all times. I mean, who loses a frickin' gun? Give me a break. Our state should follow the example of a growing number of cities in Washington and require owners to alert law enforcement that their weapon may now be on the black market within 48 hours of the weapon being lost or stolen. Require law enforcement agencies to participate in firearms tracing. Law enforcement agencies have a number of tools at their disposal to trace firearms from the point of sale to the crime scene and to connect weapons to multiple crimes. But all too often these systems go unutilized. Implementing programs to overcome barriers to using these systems will help law enforcement agencies to use them statewide. In other words, they want to know where the guns are. Update laws to ensure violent individuals are prohibited from purchasing firearms. Hey, they already are. You get a domestic violence freaking crime in this state, you get an assault for anything like that, your firearm rights are gone. Illegal discharge or display of a firearm and other crimes do not currently prohibit potentially dangerous individuals from purchasing and possessing firearms. This ought to be rectified. Who wrote this? This is just straight frickin' Nazism. Oh, I'm not done with Washington by a long shot, but I wanted to bring that up. Be expecting more about these bills going on here in Washington. Well, y'all have a nice day.